Hello, my name is Lily Roberts and I'm 14 years old. I'm in Miss Watson's grade 9 Block 4 English class at Oak Bay High. This unit, we've been talking a lot about poetry and First Nations. In this project, we have incorporated the two of them together. I have learned a lot about how to write effective and powerful poetry, and today I will be sharing some of that with you. I hope you enjoy it. This is my symbol poem. It's about a raven, and it was inspired by my Uncle Marcus. The raven, a trickster. The symbol of mischief and mayhem, focused on satisfying his own greed for whatever he desires. He is seen as the creator of light, as the maker of life, the originator of all things before the beginning. He has given us lessons, the keys that has opened many of life's treasures, and for this we are grateful. Kangi, Kokakamest, and Chogan. He goes by many names. He is a magical creature. His stories bring great meaning, greed, amusement, change, and daring. He is the creator of light. He is the raven. This poem was inspired by my Uncle Marcus. I decided to write this poem on the raven because I know that the raven is a very important symbol in First Nations culture. This is my emotions poem. It's called Imagine. Imagine, just imagine, being only 5 years old and being taken from your parents. Imagine never seeing them again. Imagine being taken to a strange place. Imagine being abused and mistreated. Imagine the grief. Imagine the pain. Imagine the tears. The culture was beaten out of these children because they were afraid of culture. Can you imagine? Because I can't. I wrote this poem, Imagine, because sometimes when we were learning about the residential schools, I found it hard to imagine what it was like for these children when they were taken away from their parents. So I wrote this poem to help myself and others understand what they went through. These are my two haiku poems, and the first one is called Born with Bravery, and it focuses on the grandfather teaching of bravery. The second one is called Nature's Wisdom, and it focuses on the grandfather teaching of wisdom. Born with Bravery. Born with bravery, not all are born this way, but they can still learn it. Nature's Wisdom. Willing to speak to me, the river called to me, sharing his wisdom. In the first poem, Born with Bravery, I decided to write about this because I know from experience that some people are just braver than others, but bravery is still something that you can learn with hard work. In the second poem, Nature's Wisdom, I wrote about this because I know that the First Nations culture really revolves around nature, and they are really respectful of nature and all of the knowledge and wisdom that they learn about it. This is my concrete poem. It's called The Story of the Wind. The wind tells us many stories of what has happened here. It reminds us of the past. It reminds us of everything that has ever happened, of everything that nature and family has taught us, whispering it in our ears as it blows past, the cries of joy and the cries of pain. The wind brings many stories with him wherever he goes. Do not forget them. I decided to write this poem on the wind because when I was little, I used to hear a lot of First Nations stories about how the wind brings many stories with him of the past, so I decided to write a poem about these stories. This is my poem of choice. It's called Ringed Hearts, and it's about how cedar trees are the life of the forest. I fly through the night like a raven in flight. I feel the harsh cold wind of the west coast winter night. Below me I can see all the tall cedar trees cuddling together to protect each other from the harsh cold winter breeze. These trees are the lifeline of the forest, their mighty branches sheltering the forest from the wind singing its chorus. The battles and peace are whispered among them, the memories hidden in the ringed hearts like a precious gem. And so I fly away into the harsh winter's night, once again taking flight. In this poem, I gave the wind and the trees personification to make it more lifelike. This poem represents how important the cedar trees were to the First Nations and the forest. The cedar tree is a very important part of the First Nations culture because it is used for so much, including shelters, clothes, and even weapons. The cedar trees are the symbol of the West Coast. I would like to say a special thank you to Starla Anderson for coming into our class and teaching us about poetry, Alex Nelson for coming in and teaching us about First Nations culture, my Uncle Marcus who inspired me to write poetry about the ravens, and to Miss Watson for helping us with this project and teaching us about poetry. And thank you for everyone who listened.